Hey peeps, I'm Rick Roberts, and this is Rick Roberts Life, the podcast where we talk about my faith, my thoughts, my life. And today is Thursday Thoughts, and my thought for you today is embarrassment. Now, there's several different ways we can deal with embarrassment. Some people, when they are embarrassed, they wish the earth would open up and just swallow them alive so they can hide from everybody. Some people get very defensive and they start to lash out on those people who are confronting them or that they might have been embarrassed by. And some people will also turn around and blame somebody else when they are embarrassed. And so I want to talk to you about my own personal situation. Last week, I had a very embarrassing thing happen to me. I was teaching one of my classes. It's a new class I'm doing. It's a dance exercise class. And, that whole week, my son wasn't feeling well. He had a case of the sniffles. He didn't have COVID. We had him tested. Calm down. And, I got the sniffles. I got a little bit run down. He wasn't sleeping at night. I wasn't sleeping at night. And so the whole week, I probably had like a total of about, 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours sleep roughly that whole week. I was just shattered. And I go into this class. I had my routine ready to go, and I went to do my routine. I did it good the first time, did it all right the second time. The third time, my brain was like, look, Rick, we told you, we can't talk it, we can't do it, and we can't, have that swag all at the same time. You're going to have to pick one because we can't do everything all at once. And I tried to do it, and I completely blew the choreography, and I was feeling so embarrassed. The people were kind of getting it, but it just wasn't clicking. And the more I tried to do it with them, the more my brain was like, look, Rick, we're done. We're shutting down. We're pretty much out of here. And so I tried to do a simple, dance move, the electric slide, my people out there, I'm talking about. And, two to the right, two to the left, take it back 2 times, kick, slide. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, once again, my brain was like, Rick, we talked about this. We said we're done and you should shut it down. And lo and behold, I embarrassed myself on that too. So I was like, I was feeling that first thing I was talking about. I wish the ground could open up and just swallow me whole. I was like, this is embarrassing. So all I could do was I said, you know what? I'm sorry. For some reason, I'm just not able to demonstrate this move properly. Let's move on to the next thing. And I just kind of felt the vibe shift. And I felt bad because the people took time to be there. Whenever someone comes to one of my fitness classes or any of my events, I always appreciate it because I know that they're giving up their time to invest in what it is that I'm presenting to them or what I'm doing with them, and they have value in it. And if I don't hit that value, I feel like a failure, or I feel very, upset that I didn't deliver, and I feel like I've cheated them. And so I was so angry on the way back home. I was so annoyed with myself that I didn't deliver the way that I wanted to. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to blame my lack of sleep. I wasn't going to blame anything else. I was just going to say, you know what? I messed up. I'm sorry I didn't deliver. Let me see how I can rectify it. And so I had it in my mind to go to the person that runs the facility to apologize and to also reimburse them for the class because I felt like I didn't give them the value that they deserved. And as I stayed up that night thinking about how I can improve myself, how I could have done better, what I can do to safeguard myself in case this happens again where I have a week where I'm not able to get the rest that I need, what am I going to do next? So I took time, I thought about it, I owned my situation, and I made plans to back up myself and safeguard myself so that way I can make sure that people get the value that they deserve whenever they're doing my events. And, I went to go talk to the person that runs the facility, and she was like, hey, so-and-so came in and she wanted to talk to me about you. And I said, you know what? That's funny. I wanted to talk to you about me too. And she said, well, let me go first. And I said, okay. So she said, the person said to me that she wanted me to find a way to let you know that you just need to relax. You're doing a great job. They're enjoying themselves. You messed up a little bit. They don't care. They're not there for a dance lesson. They're there for dance exercise. Just calm down and just have fun. They really enjoy your energy. And so when I heard that, it helped me to understand where they were, and it helped me to see that, maybe because I was tired, maybe because I was really in my head, I was actually magnifying how bad the missteps were. And I say this to share this with you, that when you're embarrassed, in your head, it's always so much worse than what it is in reality. Now, sometimes, on the rare occasion, we can actually get it right, or we're like, oh wow, this is actually that big. And what I want to say to you is that when we make mistakes, when you are embarrassed, it's not the end of the world. We all get embarrassed sometimes. The best thing that I'd like to encourage you to do is something that I did, which was take some time. Don't go in on yourself negatively, but look at the systems you have in place and see what you can do to safeguard yourself so that way you don't repeat that same event. Because, sometimes when you're learning something new, when you're doing something new, you're going to have hiccups, and these hiccups can be embarrassing. Whenever you are caught off guard or dealing with people, you're going to have hiccups because different people respond to the same event in a different way. And so some people will be ecstatic by it, some people will be offended by it, and the way that they respond can be embarrassing. And sometimes your kids can embarrass you, or anything. And so when this happens, I want you to do me this favor. Take a deep breath in. Breathe. Like I said, reevaluate the actual events that took place. See what you can do differently to safeguard yourself from repeating that hiccup. And if it's just something that happened, once, and you just caught off guard and it happened and there's not much you can do about it, don't go in on yourself. Don't choose to be so toxic to yourself that you hurt your mental health. You say nasty things to yourself. Take a breath. Realize that this will pass. This is just a flavor of the week. It will pass. Over time, it will fade away off into the distance. I know it's easier said than done, but try to have some perspective. Try to have some type of horizon you can look to be able to have hope for a better tomorrow. Because if you dwell inside of your embarrassment and you focus inwardly and be negative to yourself inwardly, it can do a lot more damage than good. And the whole point of this podcast is to encourage you to keep your head up and to keep moving forward. Another thing I want to encourage you to do is do not blame other things. Do not blame people. Do not blame your circumstance. Own it. To say, you know what? If I put this in someone else's hands, and I talked about this in my past podcast, if you put the power in someone else's hands, you are then vulnerable to the future, where you can't control where you're going, where you can't control your own inward self because you're putting the power outward. But when you own it and you say, you know what, this was embarrassing. Yeah, so-and-so did that to me and it was embarrassing. All you can do is you can control how you feel, you can control how you respond, you can control how you want to react in the situation, and you can control how much you're going to let it weigh you down. Because some people, their main thing is they want to embarrass you. Their goal is to try to make you feel small so that way they can feel bigger. And when they see that they're getting to you, they're going to continue to go in on you. And I don't want that to happen to you. And so the more that you can have an inward peace about yourself, about where you're coming from, think about the palm tree. The palm tree bends and is able to move in the wind, okay? As the hurricane comes and it blows that palm tree, it's able to bend a bit more and say, you know what? I know this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to knock me over, but I got flexibility. I know who I am. I know where I am, and you're not going to be able to break me that easy. But we had an oak tree in the back of my yard when I was a kid. Massive thing. It was solid. Windstorm came by, knocked it over. It was so stiff, it was so tense that when the wind came, it didn't have that ability to bend at all, and it knocked it over. And that's what I want you to keep in mind, that if you are so tense and stiff inside your emotions, inside of your thoughts about who you are and what you represent, when someone comes and starts to try to bend you or blow at you to try to knock you over, if you're too stiff, you will fall. And that will also be embarrassing. But if you are able to be flexible and be able to bend when they're blowing at you, when they're really trying to go at you, and you maintain your emotions because you know who you are then able to withstand that wind, that force that's working against you. You are valuable. You are an amazing person. And yes, you may have been embarrassed. You may feel embarrassed now, but this will not last forever. It too will pass. So hang in there. Keep your head up and keep moving forward. I'm Rick Roberts, and you stay classy. Bye.